Welcome to 3C Virtual Office. In this video, we're going to show you how to use Amazon Workspaces. So in a previous video, we showed you how to install Amazon Workspaces, assuming you've already done that. And so now you have an icon on your desktop, Amazon Workspaces. I'm going to double click on it. And if you ever see this pop up, feel free to install the update if you have a minute. If you don't, you can remind me later. I wouldn't skip the version. I would do the install. Just do it when you have a quick minute or so. So I'm going to say remind me later. And so here's your Amazon Workspace client. I'm going to log in as a particular user. And I know this person's password. And you should have received an email with your username and password. So just click sign in. Remember me, that's up to you. Security wise, I'm going to say you would click no. If you're lazy, you can click yes. It just remembers your username. Okay, it doesn't remember the password. So you always have to put in the password. So I'm going to say no. And it's talking to your cloud computer, and it's starting Amazon Workspaces. Okay, so your cloud computer takes a second. We've put a little cloud desktop here because we found that people were getting confused as to where am I working in the cloud or am I working on a local computer? So if you see the cloud, you know that you're up in the cloud. Now, just a few things about the Amazon Workspace client, which I think is kind of cool, is that you can resize the screen to any size you want, and the screen automatically resizes for you. And if you have multiple screens, you can drag it on over to another screen if you want to. And so you could have one screen that's local and one screen that's in the cloud. Now, I will tell you, we don't want you to do that. We want you to work 100% in the cloud. We want you browsing the internet in the cloud. We want you using all the apps in the cloud. Any apps that you have on the desktop, at some point we're going to remove those because really we want you to do all your work up in the cloud. The computer that you're using is really just going to be used for Amazon Workspaces, and we don't want you to do any real work on the actual local computer. Why? Because it's not being backed up. So if you save files to your desktop on your local computer, they're gone if something happens to that computer. Or if it's a business-related file, you need to be saving to your network drives on your cloud computer, so they're backed up and other people have access to them to get the job done. So these demos are a little boring because it's very similar to your regular work environment that you've had in the past. File Explorer, if I click on that and I go to this PC, you see map drives. The M drive, I think everyone is familiar with. There's a couple additional drives depending on who you are. But if I go to the M drive, this should look very familiar to you. You would just open up your files as you normally do. We've already installed email. We've already installed Word and Excel. Slack has been installed for chatting if you want to. So pretty straightforward things here. And then also printing is very similar to what you've been used to. If I go into a new document here, hi, how are you? This is based on Windows 10. So if I hit File, Print, you see it defaulted to the corp. This is a person that's in the main office, corporate, and so right now it's defaulted to the upstairs Konica. But you can see that other printers are installed, and depending on who you are and where you work, if you're in Baltimore, you're just going to see the Baltimore printers. And if you have local printers, like a printer that's actually connected to your computer at the office, they'll show up here as well. You'll see something like local, blah, 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 whatever printer that is. This is available to you anywhere. So if you're at home and you want to connect, if you want to install it on your iPad while you're on the road, you can do that. But your home computer, when you connect, it'll automatically add those printers so you can print to home. Or if you want, you're working at home, but you want to print to the main office or to Baltimore or wherever, you can select your printer. And then when you come back into the office, it'll be sitting in the printer for you, which is kind of a cool feature, I think. And then, if you want to save files, you want to save, the company line is that you want to save to your map drives, okay? So we want to save to the M drive or wherever your work file should be saved. You really want to avoid saving stuff to your desktop or to your My Documents folder because no one else can find it. Now, if it's a work in progress and you want to save there, that's fine. Your files are being backed up. Your desktop and document files are being backed up. But really, the preferred method is to save everything to these map drives here. Otherwise, it's Word, it's Windows as you're used to seeing. So again, pretty boring demo, right? A couple other little features here. The menu up here, connection. So Control-Delete. Like if you need to lock your computer or you need to reboot your computer, if a program is locked up and you need to end task, you don't hit Control-Delete on your keyboard like you normally do, because that'll send Control-Delete to your local computer. So what you need to do is come up here to this menu and hit Send Control-Delete, and it's going to send it to your Workspace computer. Okay, so from there I can go to Task Manager. It's going to show a list of programs that are running, and you can end task. I think people are used to seeing that. Click on a program, hit end task if you need to. So many people think that, oh, moving to the cloud, it's going to solve all my problems. This is a computer in the cloud. So it's a computer. And so it's a Windows computer. You're going to have to reboot every once in a while. It's just one of those things. So in the document that we sent you are some instructions on how to do a reboot. What you do is you click on the Start menu, which is down here, this little Windows thing, and then the Power button, and then you click Restart. Okay? Don't hit Shutdown. Use the Restart. And what that is kind of a real simple, quick restart. It takes a couple minutes, and it restarts your computer. Clears out the memory, clears out programs that are running, that type of thing. There's another reboot that's a more significant reboot. So if you're having any kind of problems, do the quick reboot, okay? And that's just the start, restart option. If you're still having some issues, there is a full-blown, we call it a full restart. And so what you can do is start a web page, and this is in your document as well that we've sent you. And you go to status.3cvo.com, 3cvirtualoffice.com. And you use the same username and password that you use for your workspace. Okay. And it shows a list of the computers that are in your cloud in your organization. Okay. So you would find your computer, and it'll tell you if there's a problem here. But right now it's showing that it's available. And if I click this reboot, and I'm not going to do it now, it'll show that it's rebooting. And that reboot takes 10 minutes or so. It takes a while but it's really a full-blown reboot. It totally clears out memory and refreshes your computer. So I ask that you try the simple reboot first, see if that solves any problems, and then do the big reboot if you're still having this full reboot, if you're still having issues, before you call us. Because the first thing that we're going to do is ask you if you've rebooted your computer before we troubleshoot too much further. Now, that being said, you should not have to do this very often. This is not a daily thing. This is a rare thing that you should have to do this big reboot here, okay? If you're having to do this fairly often, there's a bigger problem, and definitely let us know so we can solve that. This is something that you should not have to do very often, okay? You have email in here, you have Outlook, and you also have something called OneDrive. Okay, so OneDrive is a syncing tool, okay? And that allows you to sync files to the cloud, to your local computer, or more importantly, from your local computer up to your cloud. So you see I have this little blue icon here, and it says it's up to date. And then down here on my local computer, I have the same thing. And I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to select Open Folder. And let me drag this on over, okay? And so these are files that are being synced for this person, okay? And if I click on the desktop here, and let's say I want to transfer a file from my local computer up to my cloud computer. So you can just drag and drop files into here. I'm just going to create a little file. It's called test. And we're going to open it up. And I'm going to go over here. And hi, how are you? Okay. And save it. Okay. So icons change depending on what it's doing, but right now it shows a green check mark, and that's saying that it's been uploaded to the cloud. Okay. And so, again, not to confuse you, but this is on the local computer that I just did this. And if I get out of here, look at this. On the desktop, in my cloud computer, magically appeared that test document. Of course, I can't spell test. That's a problem. Okay, and it works both ways. Okay, so if you saved a file in your cloud computer, it will show up in your local computer. So this is just an easy way to transfer files back and forth. A lot of people just email files to themselves. You can use an email program, email it to your organization email, and you have email in here, and it would show up. But this OneDrive thing is a great little syncing tool, especially like if you have a scanner attached to your local computer. So what you would do is set the default location for your scans to go to your OneDrive folder, and anything that you scan on your local computer would then automatically appear up in the cloud. Now, we have gone to a lot of the local computers in your organization already and installed OneDrive, and it's been kind of a mixed bag. A lot of computers have been offline. So if you don't have OneDrive installed on your local computer, definitely shoot an email to support@3csol.net, and we'll give you a call and schedule a time to get that installed for you. It really makes life a little bit easier when you're trying to transfer files. It's a neat little utility. Anything that you save to your desktop, just so you know, in your cloud computer automatically gets saved to OneDrive, and anything in your documents folder automatically gets saved to OneDrive as well. So it's a little bit of a backup for your for your cloud computer. Again, we want you to use those map drives. That's really the primary place for you to save stuff. But if you save some shortcuts on your desktop and all that, they're being backed up, and so just know that that's available. Um, you can go full screen. So watch, I just did full screen, and it gets, I don't really love this view because it shows basically two start menus. The one start menu down here is your local, and the one up here is your cloud. So that can get confusing. What I strongly recommend you do is that you do something with view and you click show full screen. So if you have 2 or 3 monitors on your computer, the cloud computer will use all 3 of those monitors. And I'm gonna go ahead and do it. And it takes a second to resize. And you're only seeing one of my screens. I actually have 4 screens. So the cloud computer is now showing on all 4 screens. And you notice that the start menu down here, or this bar, it's just showing the cloud computer. It's not showing my local computer. And that's perfect. This is how I think you should be working. I know it's a departure from what you were doing before, where you had one screen for the cloud and one screen for local. I want you to do 100% in the cloud. You can browse, business-related sites as much as you want. You can have multiple windows for Sage and all that good stuff. So definitely try to work 100% in the cloud. It's going to save yourself some frustration. So I'm in the cloud now, full screen. If I need to get to that menu and get out of full screen, I move my mouse up to the top here, and that little bar just came down, and I can click View, Exit Full Screen. It takes a second, but it's going to resize the window back to what we were using before. Let's see, I don't think there's any other really, that's really the send, control, delete. One thing that you can do, well, let's talk about, you're going to lunch, okay? So I'm in Word, and I'm in 5 different applications, and I want to go to lunch. So, and I don't want to get out of all my applications. So I want to keep everything running as is. Okay, so this is during the day. This is not end of day. I'm going to ask you to do something different for the end of day. But during the day, you're going to go into a meeting or whatever. I just want to stay where I am. Okay, 2 different ways to do it. I can click on connection, send, control, delete, and I can lock. You're familiar with that. Or I can just hit the X in the upper right corner for my Amazon workspace. Okay, and so if I do that, it gets me right out of the workspace. You see here the username's there. I go to lunch. Everything is still running in the cloud, which is great. During the day, this is great. Okay, I'm going to try to reconnect now. Okay, when you get out of Workspaces, sometimes you have to give it 30 seconds or so before you reconnect into a workspace. So let's try. Let's see if we can get in there. Takes a second. And boom, all the apps that I had before are still in there. Okay, so that's during the day. 2 different ways, by either locking or just hitting the X. Okay, keeps everything running. At the end of the day, it is so important to log off your computer. What that does is it forces you to get out of any saved programs you have. Most importantly, it gets you out of Sage. Okay, so if you're in Word, Excel, Sage, it really becomes a problem for us doing backups of all your data if you're in the program. So at the end of the day, we want you to log off. And logging off is not hitting the X up here. Okay, it is logging off the system. And how you do that is I'm on the desktop. I'm going to hit Alt F4. Hold down the Alt. While holding down the Alt, I hit F4, and it comes up with this option. Okay? The two options that I would ask you to use are sign out or restart. Okay? So signing out just gets you out of those programs, and then the cloud computer is immediately available for you to log back into if you want to. If you want to come back the next day and have a completely fresh computer and want to do a more thorough log out, you would select that restart option, and that totally clears out memory. Since you're leaving for the day, why not restart it at the end of the day? So when you come in the morning, it's raring to go. But you can sign out. That's fine too. Okay, so Alt F4 and select sign out, and that gets you out of the system. I know this is kind of a short demo, but really that's it in a nutshell of what you can do in here. Certainly, if you have any questions, please reach out to support@3csol.net. Paula has asked that any requests that you send in, that you please carbon copy her on it. But feel free to reach out to us whenever you need to. And thank you very much. I appreciate your time.